Hello guys, let me go ahead and show you some examples of dealing with percentages and fractions and using proportions to determine percent. I want to go ahead and do the skill check problems from page 296. Let me do a dumb joke here for you. How come hyenas are so healthy? Because the Bible says laughter is the best medicine, doesn't it? Okay, what we learned is that a fraction is, well, percentage first. If you get 8% correct on a test, you've got a real problem. But let's say that you have 100 problems on a test. You get 92 of those correct. You get a 92% on your grade. And remember that it's 92%, 92 per 100, and that's that, you can think of 100 cents in a dollar. Okay, it comes from the Latin, but what percent is? It's per 100. So, let's look at example number 1. It says, write each as a fraction in lowest terms. First we have 8%. Next we have 15%. We have 36%, and we have 70%. And our problems here say write each of these percentages as a fraction in lowest terms. So what did I just remind you that percent is? 8% means 8 per 100. So you have 8 over 100. Your common denominator here, not your common denominator, your common factor, the greatest common factor that you can reduce these by, is you're going to reduce both of these by factoring out a 4. You can show this two different ways depending on what you're comfortable with at the moment. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 100 divided by 4 is 25. And I really didn't leave myself enough space, but that's okay. You can see what's going on. Another way that you could do this, that all of you, or at least most of you I know are very comfortable with, is we have 8 over 100. And you see that there's a common factor of 4, but let's say that maybe you don't see that right away. You have a common factor of 2, 8 divided by 4, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 100 divided by 2 is 50. Now you see that you still have not reduced this to lowest terms because both of these numbers here are even. So you can divide by 2 again. Cancel out a common factor of 2. You have a 2 in the numerator and a 25 in the denominator. So you've now reduced this to lowest terms. Okay? So 2/25 is 8% expressed as a fraction in lowest terms. Now problem number 2 was 15%. So we have 15 per 100. We can divide by the common factor here, which is 3, which is not 3, that's what you're going to get when you divide by the common factor of 5, and you're going to have 3 over 20. I don't prefer that you use this method here where you're using this actual division symbol. This is more like arithmetic than like algebra. When you are reducing fractions to lowest terms, what I'm wanting you to do, 5 times 3, this is called a brain freeze. 5 times 20. What you're doing is canceling out common factors. This is more of an algebraic way of expressing what you're doing over here. Both of them end up with the same answer, of course. You have 3/20. So whether you break apart your numbers so that you have a product in the numerator and a product in the denominator, whether you actually divide by your common factor, or whether you look at this and say, oh, okay, I know that 15 and 100 can both be divided by 5, so my answer is going to be 3/20. That's all they're asking you to do here. 36%, 36 over 100. Looks like it has 4 nines. 4 times 9 is 36. So I'm going to say 4 times 9, 4 times 25. That doesn't seem to be right. Let me look at the book. Yeah. We have a common factor of 4 that cancels, so that our 36% written as a fraction in lowest terms is 9 over 25. I think it's real obvious what we have going on here. I'm not going to do the last one. 70%. Matter of fact, while I erase this board, 70% is 70 over 100. You can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 10, so you have reduced to lowest terms 7/10 is the fraction. Now we have, write each of these as a percent. Use equivalent fractions with a denominator of 100. So for problem number 5, we have 4/5. If we want to come up with a denominator of 100, we're going to have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 20, aren't we? 5 times 20. So we have 80 over 100. We would never use 80 over 100 as a fraction because it's not reduced to lowest terms. But this 80 over 100, because it's divided by 100, we know that we now have it expressed as a percentage. So we have 80%, which is what we're looking for. Problem number 6, they give us 3/20, which we are doing the opposite of what we just did in one of our last problems. 3 over 20. In order to come up with this as a percentage by writing with a denominator of 100, we're going to have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 100 to come up with an equivalent fraction. See all of this vocabulary that we're using? An equivalent fraction for 3/20 is 15/100. We have a denominator of 100, so 15/100 is the same as saying 15%. And that's the form they want us to be using. Our last example here, 43 over 50. Let's see if I can stay in. Not really. This is problem 7. We have 43 over 50. We need to write this fraction with a denominator of 100. So we're going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2. We end up with 86 over 100. The denominator is 100, so we can express that directly as a percentage, which is 86%. The last ones that we want to do is we want to see that we can use a proportion to express percentage. As soon as I find the cap to my marker, we'll go ahead and step through these examples. And this is sort of a neat way because we're using the principle of cross products that we can get, because with a proportion you have two fractions or two ratios that are equal to one another. So now we want to write as a percent, we have 7 over 25 is what percent of 100? Because here we could divide, and there are several different ways that we could use to convert 7/25 to what our percentage is, but cross products here, because this is percent, because percent has a denominator of 100. I'm sorry I stumbled around on that. We're going to cross multiply. 25x is equal to 700. We're going to divide both sides of this equation by 25, and that's how we're going to now this is very interesting. Let me look at this just for a moment. Okay. We're going to divide both sides of this equation by 25. We have x is equal to 700 over 25. 25, this is an easy little bit of arithmetic to do in your head. You think, I can't divide 700 by 25. Yeah, you can if you turn it into money. How many quarters are there in $7? Well, there's 4 quarters in $1. 4 times 7, there are 28 quarters in $7. So 7/25 is a percentage of 28%. Or you can always do 700 divided by 25. 2 times 25 is 50. 8 times 25 is 200. Or you could look at this and say, okay, I can cancel out a factor of 5, I can cancel out a factor of 5 again. But whatever you have to do, you've got to get this fraction right here where we've solved for x and expressed it as a percentage. All right, next example that we have is 2/3. And I want to do this because it's a fractional percentage. 2/3 is equal to how many percent? Okay, pay close attention here. We cross multiply. 3x is equal to 200. Now we need to divide both sides of this equation by 3 because we're solving for x. So we have x is equal to 200 over 3. And you say, Miss Betsy, you say as long as I have a rational expression or a fraction reduced to lowest terms, that's my answer. Yes, but look back. This is reduced to lowest terms. What do your instructions say? They say write each as a percent. Okay, we're going to have to write this as a percent. We can't multiply by something to come up with percent here. We have to reduce this. So let's do 200 divided by 3. See what we end up with. 200 divided by 3. 3 6s are 18. 3 6s are 18. See, we've got this pattern going. So let's write this rather than 66.66 repeating percent. When you have percents, you're going to use a fractional number. We're going to write this. We have a remainder of 2. We're going to express it as a fractional percent. Our remainder is 2 over 3. So this is one of those strange animals where a mixed number is actually what you're going to see most frequently. 2/3 expressed as a percentage is 66 2/3%. Looks a little bit weird, doesn't it? But this is how they're going to use fractional percentages. You will not commonly see 66.6 repeating percent. They just don't use that. They're going to use 66 2/3%. Or the percentage interest that you're getting now, which you're lucky to get this much interest on a deposit of 1.5%. They're going to put maybe 1.5%, maybe 1.5%. But if it's 1 1/3%, they're going to actually write out the fraction 1 1/3. They're not going to write 1.3 repeating. So these are just some little tweaks in how you express answers. So, hope you guys have a good rest of the week. I'll see you on Friday.